Hello, Chargers. Here we are once again for part two of our discussion for today. In the first part, it was my game against Niels. Again, both of these players, Pragnananda and Niels Grandelius, played yesterday in Tata Steel Masters round number 4. And in part two, we'll discuss my game against Pragnananda in the Abu Dhabi Masters 2019. Here we go. Let's go through the game. I was white in that game. All right. So I started with knight into f3. All right. He played knight f6. e3. I was just okay when you're playing a young player. Young players are very sharp and they're well versed with the different theories and also the latest trends out there. So I was just checking what he's trying to do. Right? With knight f3, e3, it was just more of like, okay, let me see what he has in store for me. So he went for b6. All right. This one, my third move, is actually a surprise. So this is the crazy a4. Okay, it's just a basic idea when the opponent tries to go for fianchetto. Let's say bishop e7 or g6. You go and let's say g6, h4, h5, trying to break that pawn structure. Okay. In this case, with b6, I played the pawn of a4. You can do it somewhere in the middle, but I tried to do it at the beginning of the game just to catch him off guard. Yeah. So I played a4. Okay, the main thing is to play a5 and try to open up my a rook. Yeah. So he went into a5, stopping my plan there. Okay, now let me go back to the basics. Bishop e2, bishop b7, castles. It's not so common to have this a5 in the Queen's Indian setup. So I was happy about the result of the opening. He played g6, he went for the double fianchetto. The double fianchetto. d4, normal development, centralizing pawn. You could have played it earlier, d4, yeah, but I didn't want to discuss theories over there. I just want to play chess on this day. On some days, sometimes you're in the mood to just play a real game. Yeah, I just want to play a game. I don't want to go into this crazy main lines or whatsoever. That's a big headache, especially when you're getting older. Okay. So he went for bishop g7. Okay, knight b2, castles, and then c3. Since he played a5, I played c3, trying to go for b4, trying to break that pawn over there. Went for d6, b4. Knight e5, hitting my pawn on c3 and b4. So I'm forced to play queen to b3, protecting both pawns. Takes, takes. All right. c5. That was a nice break, or else I could use this one to advance. Yeah. So I went for c5, takes, takes on c5. I cannot take, of course, with this one because there's a pin on my rook on a1. So bishop e2. I'm now ready to take, since this bishop is protecting this king. He went for knight to d7. That's a good move. Of course, if I take on c5, you also have this tempo on my queen on b3. Right? So bishop b5. I want to take that knight. Then c5 is next. Takes on d4. Force, I guess. Now I cannot take with the knight here because he has knight c5. I also cannot take with bishop because bishop. He goes for e5. Yeah. Okay, so I took with the pawn. It's an isolated pawn, but the compensation also is that the pawn takes away the c5 and the e5 square. So I went for knight f6. Okay, a strong knight on d5, by the way. Okay, knight into c7. He's attacking my light square bishop. Bishop c4, battery, f7, old black knight e5, comes into play. He played knight f d5. Okay, nice one. It's a shifting of the two knights. Earlier it was this knight on c7 and d5. He wants to pressure on d4 or on this line. So I played knight to e4, centralizing the knight on e4. Okay, he went for rook a7, protecting his bishop. Not only is protecting the bishop, he clears the line for his queen on a8. He clears a square clearance for the queen on a8. Okay, an interesting maneuver also, because I have two isolated pawns, the a4 and d4. So with queen a8, he puts pressure on my a4 pawn with some bishop c6 ideas coming up here. So in that case, I had to play h4. Again, earlier it was a4 in the beginning of the game. Third move, I played a4. This is just the same as Permananda actually against Niels. Yeah. a4 to the b6 pawn, now h4 to the g6 pawn. Yeah. All right, he went for knight to e6, pressure on d4, but I don't have to worry because I still have a knight on f3 and the bishop on b2. Nothing to worry. g3, taking away that f4 square, restricting these two knights to go into f4. Went for h5, okay, stopping my h5 threat. e5, centralizing. We play queen a8 this time. Okay, this is a bit annoying, yeah. And a little bit dangerous also because my bishop is on c4, it's not on g2. Okay, I played the knight d2 back because he was also planning, I guess, to play knight f4 and bishop takes e4. So I went back to knight d2. He played rook d8 here, and he was just playing on seconds. He was just playing on increment here. He had an early time trouble. He had an early time trouble in the game, probably because of the reason why. Probably because I played a surprising third move. Yeah. So it was out of fury. So he was thinking every single move, and I like to have that one. I like to have a real fight. And here, I played a very conservative knight f3 move. Yeah, this is my chance with his time going seconds, and this is the middle game. This is already, I think, it's a light to play and win. And I had this in mind, but I don't know why I hesitated. I should have gone for this one. I have to pinch myself for not playing this move. I really couldn't sleep also, you know. When the result in the end was a draw, I was about to win with knight takes g6 here. Okay, the main what I was worried about knight g6 was this move. Okay, let's say knight takes d4, right? Okay, queen d3 has to be played, and then he goes back to knight e6, for example. Bishop takes to g7. Okay, if let's say king takes on g7, I have rook takes e6. F takes e6 and then just knight e5. Yeah, this is just unstoppable. If he captures with, let's say he captures with the knight on g7. I was so worried that if I take on e7, he has knight takes and then a discovered attack on my queen. Yeah. And if I play rook takes e7, it was the same thing: knight takes, and king f8. This one I stopped. Yeah. I was like, oh, he will take his f5 square is taken by the knight, and if let's say I play queen h7, he will just play king takes e7. I stopped like, can I find it? I didn't find any mate yet. Well, I was like, I missed that there was actually rook to e1 here, king d7. Yeah, I was thinking to take on g7 here, and he would go bishop e5, yeah. And I couldn't see anything after that, because if let's say bishop b5, king c8, if I will check, for example, c7, yeah, I stopped my calculation when I saw this king shifting to the queen side. But what I miss is this intermediate check with bishop b5. Let's try to find this one here, because I thought the king is already safe on c8, rook c1, and then king b8. Yeah, so that what to do. And then queen takes b7, and probably he will just go for rook a whatever. But probably he will go rook a5. But just nice see for the activity of my pieces. All right. I didn't. My mistake is I did not calculate long enough, or probably I was playing his time. I played it safe. I missed out some calculation here, especially that bishop b5. I missed that bishop b5 check. And also looking at this position, let's say for example, a move like, what was I worried about this? Okay, from this position, right? Let's just say bishop takes d4, for example. Okay, rook takes e6, wins, yeah. Okay, I was also looking at knight takes e7 instead of queen d3, but that's probably the reason why I was afraid of playing the move, because that was my first idea, and try to go for bishop takes f7. I couldn't see anything of the king h8. Yeah. Because if let's say bishop takes d4, we will take on d4. I would go for rook takes e7, for example. The king is not safe to look at, yeah, but this bishop h1. So I was looking at this line, and I don't have any checks. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons I hesitated at knight h6. But I missed this. I had this queen d3 in mind, but I missed bishop b5 in the end. Yeah, I had to calculate. Okay, I had to calculate 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, the other line. Knight takes the other line. 4, 5, 6, 7, and instead of queen g7, this move. I saw this takes on g7, but not this b5 bishop b5 check. I had to calculate longer. Only then you take. Crazy. Then I have queen e5 check. Actually, second mate. All right, but it happens, yeah. And I played knight f3, very safe, very safe. And he was able to regroup with knight f8, bishop into b5, e6. Now they're regrouping. Strong knight on d5, rook c1, knight. He is putting more pressure on me now. Should b5, queen a3, okay, rook c8, takes takes, rook c1, knight on e1. Okay, queen b4. There, okay, it's just more of like maneuvering. Nothing much to decide here. Knight b7 takes. Queen b3, because I was playing his time. He was playing on seconds from starting from that move, rook d8. Yeah. This one knight d3, but he was able to survive it. And 3 years back, he was only, okay, now he's 16. He was only 13 at that time. Imagine this young 13-year-old, very, very strong. Okay, takes. Maybe he doesn't have a slight edge here. And then this is probably my second chance. And then I play knight e5. After that one, it's already equal. Maybe queen a6. Takes and takes. He will go e5, bishop e3. Takes. Let's say takes, king h7. And then, okay, then Maybe still equal. Maybe still equal. Okay, when I play 95, it's already draw. Sorry, when I play 95, it's already a draw. He had this takes, after take, and then queen c8. All right. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, it's already a fortress for black. Okay, I have a pressure on b6, but can you do nothing else? So it was a draw. I had my chance. Okay, if we go back here to this position, he had seconds left on his time with rook e8. But then again, I missed one single move in my calculations, right? The end part, bishop b5. Because I was also looking at knight takes e7, so there were two candidate moves. One was knight takes e7, right? After knight takes g6 takes. I was looking at knight takes and queen d3. So these two things probably, okay, it gave me some, I don't know, some headache. It confused me. Okay, but then he played strongly after that with less time, seconds on his clock from rook d8. That only shows how strong this kid is. So that was it. This was my story against Prague 3 years back in the Abu Dhabi Masters 2019. I had my chances, but unfortunately, I did not take it. Yeah. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Continue to support Charles Match Chess on our Facebook and YouTube channels, and we will also continue to share with you more exciting and fun games in the days to come. See you tomorrow for round number 5 of Tata Steel Masters 2022. This is Coach Oliver signing off. Bye-bye.